because you can't walk across the border with $10,000. Now, if you have jewelry or whatever, they're even asking about gold when you're crossing the borders, but none of it's made into jewelry and you're wearing it, which is why we always have gold jewelry. At least it's one way to carry where they're not, going after you and saying, "Oh, what's the value of this?" You can wear a Rolex or a Breitling watch, and they don't say, "Oh, you can't cross the border. That's worth more than 10 grand." So you've got to
Mm.
be careful. All of these governments are desperate to keep money inside of their own borders. They don't want it to be sent overseas. They want you to keep it here in whatever country you're in so they can tax that out of you.
Well, and they seem to prefer that you keep it in the bank. Because if I took $10,000 across state lines and somebody happened to pull me over and find out I had 10 grand in cash, it would also be a problem. Or it could
Tell,
be.
tell me about that, Lila. I don't even understand. How could it be a problem? And we're talking America here. We are wide open as a nation. It's not even the European Union is pretty open, much more so than it used to be. But just driving from Ohio to West Virginia, how could that be a problem?
Well, I knew a guy that he was driving down to North Carolina or Florida or somewhere down there from Ohio to go buy a car. And so he had 10 or 20 grand to go buy this vehicle with him in cash, knowing that if you took a check down, like the person wasn't going to take that because you don't know if the check's going to be good. Well, he got pulled over and that became a problem because they thought he was trying to do some illegal activity. And it didn't matter that he had a copy of the ad about the vehicle that was for sale. It didn't, like, none of that mattered. It only mattered that he had more than 10 grand in cash in his vehicle.
That is
Wow.
terrible that so what happened when they pulled him over?
They took his money because
They
they thought it
took
was,
it, they just stole it from him.
yes, they essentially impound. I'm not sure what the what the police called it at the
So
time.
this is robbers. He got robbed along the way.
No, this is a police officer that had pulled him over for speeding and then decided that that 10 grand plus was more money than he should have. So they literally took the money.
So you're saying that they use civil asset forfeiture laws probably
Yes,
to steal the money that he had, and most of the time they can just put it in the police department's budget and spend it any way they want, and they don't
that
have to justify new funding.
that is exactly what that means.
Mm.
So sometimes your money is just not your money anymore.
So if we get it in cash, then the cops literally legally can steal it from us. If, however, we leave US dollars in the bank, and by the way, anybody that says this is to prevent, money laundering, this is to prevent drug deals or illegal activity, the number one thing used to pay for illegal activity across the entire world is United States dollars. It is also the number one currency used for everything legitimate. But to try and say nobody uses Bitcoin unless they're trying to break the law, that's just absolutely ridiculous. Nobody,
Mm.
it's far better. Bitcoin you can track exactly, unlike United States dollar bills. So
Right. If I hand you a dollar bill, no one could really tell that it came from me. But cryptocurrency or modern banking transactions, the digital stuff, you can pretty much trace all of that back.
that's right. And there's something called a mixer. I've never used one, never cared. But I understand why people wouldn't want the government to see exactly